Welcome to the Healing Grove podcast. I'm Dr. Kristin, an integrative holistic family physician, author of Life After Lyme, and host in this virtual space of learning, healing, and growing. I believe humans are like trees, and our physical limb is only one of many. Health on all limbs of the tree, emotional, conceptual, social, spiritual, is absolutely required for the whole tree that is you to be vibrantly well. I created the Healing Grove podcast as a place to showcase some of the world's best integrative and holistic medicine, to expose you to transformative tools and mindset shifts for all limbs of your tree. I hope you enjoy our conversation in the Healing Grove today as much as I enjoyed having it. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Healing Grove podcast. I'm really excited today to introduce you to Dr. Nayan Patel. Thank you so much for being with us, Dr. Patel.
It's my pleasure to be here today. Thank you.
So Dr. Patel is an alumnus of the University of Southern California School of Pharmacy, where he now serves as adjunct faculty. A pharmacist for over 3 decades, Patel is an internationally recognized expert, consultant, and lecturer on the master antioxidant glutathione, which we're going to hear a lot more about today. And he's traveled the world educating practitioners and pharmacists on advanced biochemistry and anti-aging science. Dr. Patel founded RO Wellness in 2011 to create products to help the body function at an optimal level and to reduce the long-term impact of stress on the body. Through his research, he stabilized glutathione, improving its absorption and increasing its effectiveness with the Oro Glutathione antioxidant delivery system. He's also the author of The Glutathione Revolution, Fight Disease, Slow Aging, and Increase Energy. It's a great title, which addresses how powerful and essential this molecule is to the body's detoxification system and how to increase levels naturally, which, as we'll talk about, have not always been easy to do, but you've cracked the code. So I can't wait to pick your brain about this. So before we get started, Dr. Patel, I'd love for you to tell us what brought you to this magical molecule on your own journey.
Well, originally I was hired to work on worked on a liposome technology. This was back in the late 90s. One of the physicians in California had a patent on liposome technology for pharmaceuticals. And he said, hey, I mean, this thing would be great for nutraceuticals as well. So he came to us and hey, can you work on this product and make me some vitamin C and CoQ10 and glutathione and PQQ and astaxanthin and, a few of the antioxidants that he wanted me to work on. And when we first made the product, of course, it was just too expensive for us to market this product. But in that research, I tried to figure out, I said, hey, what is this glutathione, right? Because in the pharmacy school, when we went to school, we didn't study glutathione. Nobody talks about this kinds of things, right? We're talking about diseases and management of diseases. If you use the word cure, I say, oh, you can't use the word cure anymore. Come on, just be nice. And so, long story short, I was a little bit disappointed after graduating that all I'll be doing for the rest of my life is to manage people's problem and not actually get rid of the problem. And glutathione actually gave me some hope that, hey, there's a possibility that we can eliminate a lot of this the common denominator, which is oxidative species, reactive oxidative species or oxidative stress. If I can reduce that, there's a possibility for me to delay the onset of diseases for long, long periods of time. And so I thought liposome was going to be the thing for me, right? So we made the first product, and sure enough, it did not pass in the first couple of years. Didn't get the results I was looking for. But my journey started, you know what? There has to be something. So I dedicate my rest of my life to just try to figure out what am I going to do with glutathione. So just to let you know, I made liposome forms. I made the intravenous form of glutathione. You can name it, I've made it. Inhalation solutions, suppositories, you can just think about any orifices you have, and I can deliver glutathione through that orifice.
Okay, that brings to mind a whole set of orifices. So before we get into where you sort of landed and the delivery system you're using now for this important molecule, can you just break it down for us, for listeners who have no idea what this word is? What is glutathione and why would we care about getting into all the orifices?
Absolutely. So what is nobody cares about the what because they only know they want to know the why, right? The what is it's a tripeptide. I said, well, that doesn't mean anything to anybody, but it's the one of the most abundant peptide or a molecule produced in the human body. And that to me is very profound because the body does not do anything out of ordinary. You know, if it does something this profound, it has to have a major impact in our body. And so what it is a tripeptide, but why the body produces, that's to me is more important to find out. And as of right now, we know a few things that the glutathione does. We don't know, do not know everything that glutathione does at this point, but the few things that we do know is that it's a master antioxidant. It has a it's the way the molecule is produced inside the body, it comes in a reduced form. That means which is highly reactive, and it picks up all the free radicals that are revolving inside your body and quenches all the free radicals and basically protects the body from damage of these free radicals. So that by far the researchers have been known this for 100 plus years that this is the most important function of glutathione. The second part, which is even more profound to me than anything else, is that it's a master conjugator and a detoxifier. So what it does, it allows itself to bind with certain molecules to either make it water soluble so you can pee it out, or sometimes it can change the formations to bind to a fiber so that it can literally get it out of the intestines, right? Either way, the process of glutathione is to help you detoxify known chemicals, heavy metals, something that you ingest on a regular basis, anyways. So those are the two functions that we know of that by itself, those two things alone have a major impact in your life.
Yeah, yeah. And tell me about, you said it's one of the most abundant peptides or molecules in the body. Are there ways to encourage your body to make more glutathione without taking glutathione?
So yes, we don't need a stimulant. We don't need to somebody telling our brain and say, "Hey, make more glutathione, make more glutathione, make more glutathione," because that's they'll wear off pretty fast. But the way the body produces glutathione, there is no stimulant required. What it does need is the three amino acids: cysteine, glycine, and glutamine. Out of those three, cysteine is the one that is the least amount found in your regular diet. So if you consume cysteine-rich foods, that will be enough to have your body produce enough glutathione. Of course, it needs the two enzymes, the ATP, two molecules of ATP, one molecule of NAD, a catalyst like selenium. Anyways, if you have these in your diet, trust me, until the day you die, your body can produce enough glutathione and you never have to worry about it. So
So is that even true of someone who's dealing with an incredible toxic burden or maybe an infection that's creating a bigger demand and use of body's naturally made glutathione?
yeah, so when the demand increases, of course, the body is not able to keep up with the demands all the time, and so there is a problem over there. So if you have infections, or if you accidentally consume any alcohol, well, I'm not sure anybody consumes alcohol accidentally, but just in case, benefit of doubt, right? Or you're exposed to some sort of toxic chemicals, or you're by a power plant and you drink water that is full of pollutions in there. So these things will deplete glutathione levels to a point where your body is not able to keep up with the demand or cannot keep up with how much your body needs are going to be, and then you cannot. So now the toxic load increases, and the body's ability to produce glutathione has maxed out, and then the gap gets wider and wider as you age.
Yeah. So a lot of people in my community are dealing with kind of chronic infections and overburdened of toxins and difficult genetics that make it hard for them to detoxify and to heal from those things. So what would be the kind of person who benefits from glutathione use in your experience?
Okay, so that starts because first I thought everybody needs glutathione. And then I said, no, not everybody needs glutathione because the body can produce enough glutathione. Then I had to figure out, I said, okay, about what age do we see some discrepancies in the glutathione levels that your body can produce versus your needs? and there's a gap, right? When does the gap first start? When is the wedge? If you're otherwise healthy with no problems whatsoever, the first wedge we see that there's a gap between the body's demands and what the body can produce is about the age of 30. So, and again, that's not, it's an arbitrary number. It's not something, oh, I'm 30, so I should be taking glutathione today. No. Look at your lifestyle and see what that is. If your lifestyle is you consume a lot of toxic chemicals, then yes, you may need glutathione for the rest of your life, starting that point onwards. But if you have a healthy lifestyle, you don't drink alcohol, you try to eat, try to drink clean water, and not overly exposed to all the pollutions in the environment, using chemicals on your body which are completely inert and are non-toxic, then yes, you may go until 35 or up to 40 years of age before your body starts depleting. Your needs are surpassing what your body can produce. And by the age of 40, I have not found anybody who has normal glutathione levels, because there's three things that happens, right? One, yes, our exposure never changes. It just keeps on increasing because of modern day conveniences that we are so used to it, we are not willing to let go any of it, right? And so that's going to stay constant. Our enzymes in our body that we need to produce glutathione, the level starts dropping as well. The ATP production, the mitochondria that produces ATP for all these chemical reactions, that starts dropping a little bit as well, right? The requirement for NAD, which is for electron transfer, those levels are also decreasing. Now we are finding out the Nobel Prize winner about NAD and things like that, and say, hey, that's a big whole industry that I haven't cracked the code yet, but all these things are accumulating to a problem that is affecting the glutathione production. And so even the body wants to produce it, it doesn't have enough raw materials to produce every single thing. And so then there's a discrepancy. Now let's say you give all the raw materials. You can, I mean, I'm not sure if you can give ATP, but you can give all the enzymes. You can give some of the amino acids, and the body may keep up with the production, but there's still going to be a gap. So, starting at the age of 40, I would say everybody requires supplementations of some sort. Between the 30 to 40, I would say look at your if you have any early onset, of course your patients have access to you, so you probably figure out that, hey, if your oxidative stress is increasing and you have the signs and symptoms of all the oxidative stress, by all means start them early. And I have kids in the early 20s, they're on glutathione as well, because either they have a gene mutation that has triggered, or they have really bad behaviors. They probably drink almost on a daily basis, and they're depleting all the glutathione levels. And so, yes, so different people with different needs are going to be, but if you want to just put an arbitrary number, between 35 and 40 and above would be everybody.
So interesting. It reminds me of when I was in medical school, I did a away rotation with a local doctor in Chester, California, up in the
Mhm.
small town of 2000. And she had all these clinical pearls that she was just dropping. I was like collecting at her feet as she walked through the office. And one of the things she said was, between the age of 30 and 40, the rubber meets the road for all of these sort of behaviors and lifestyle choices that we make, that we sort of have a buffer from until we hit age 30, between 30 and 40. She's like, the rubber meets the road. She said it so many times, it just drilled it into me. And what you're saying is there's clinical evidence for sort of what that is and why that
Yes.
is, right? Our glutathione levels are depleted, and all the resources that we need and all the sort of mechanisms that we have are just not working as well as in our tens and
Well,
20s.
I'm assuming that our levels are decreasing, but that could be another reason that our needs are increasing. Because starting the age of 30, either you are married, you have kids, you have a new job, you're fresh out of school, trying to make ends meet. You probably bought a new house or some luxury items that now you have to have a mortgage on your head. And so your stress is increasing, your demands of your bodies are increasing, you know. So it could be either or.
Interesting. Yeah, that mismatch.
Yeah, there's
So you
mismatch.
mentioned earlier sort of the conveniences of our modern lifestyles. What are the things that you would recommend people avoid other than accidental alcohol that could help them preserve their function even longer?
So The one thing that I'll tell everybody is that every single thing that you eat, you drink, your skin comes in contact with, chemicals that you put on your face, on your hair, on your body, every single thing is processed by your liver to help get rid of all these toxic chemicals. And when I say toxic, I mean they're not toxic when we begin with, but the accumulation of this chemical inside your body that is not supposed to be there. The word toxic means it's not does not belong in your body, right? It may not cause any damage, but that doesn't mean that it's supposed to be there in the body at all, right? So for me, it's I always say that okay, start with first clean fruits and vegetables and clean water source, right? That's number one. Number two, the highest number of pollution we have is inside your own house. Think about it. Think about it. 90% of the time you're spending inside four walls, either office, your home, your car, or wherever, right? Those buildings do they have good ventilation system that they can trap all the bugs out of the system, right? Are they changing the air filters on a regular basis? And things like that. So I want to make sure that people understand that it's just not the environment, it's your own home, right? And in your own house, do you burn, like wintertime right now, do you burn firewood, right? Do you have a gas stove? Do you have candles because you want to smell good? Anything for products of combustion is basically deploying a lot of those chemicals into the open air that you're breathing in, right? All the small little things adds up. And when you're young, it doesn't bother you at all, right? As you start getting older and older, it's just everything starts accumulating. And that's what when people say, "Oh my God, you're just too sensitive," I said, "Well, I've been sensitized for all these years of accumulation of all these toxic chemicals." And so my thing has always been, if you can avoid as much as possible, I don't say not to live your life, but to avoid as many things as possible that are not essential to your body, then stop it, right?
Yeah.
If you want to drink coffee, get organic coffees and mold-free coffees and things like that, because otherwise the mold is going to get inside your body, and then now the body has to deal with this mold, and to help build up immune system, you need more glutathione, right? If you drink water that is full of parasites, the parasites now have to be contained by your own immune system, and you need a load of glutathione to build up your immune systems. And we've done a clinical trial, in fact, in one of the university in California, that we showed that by taking glutathione level, we can literally build up immune system really, really fast. And so, but to do that part, we have to have enough glutathione in our body to begin with.
Yeah,
So,
it's such a good reminder. I really appreciate you walking us through and reminding us of just those basic things. Because I think a lot of people want to jump to sort of like, well, what's the product I can take? What's the pill? What's the cream? What's the IV? And if you're doing all those things, but not taking care of the basics, you're working at cross purposes. Like
yeah.
you're literally putting a wall in front of your efforts to be healthier. So thank you for those reminders. Awesome. So what about Tylenol? Because one of the things I tell people, when they're choosing medications, some medications are particularly dirty. And what I've learned is that Tylenol depletes a full day's worth of glutathione. Did I make that up or is that actually true?
It is somewhat true because Tylenol is one of the most toxic chemical that we ingest on your liver. So we know that for fact. In fact, a lot of people that consumes too much Tylenol, there's a limit how much you can take per day, and people have crossed the limit and they have gone into liver failure within a
Yeah.
day, right?
Yeah.
So yes, Tylenol is probably one of the worst medication for your liver, and it does depletes all the glutathione reserves that we have. In fact, people they go into coma with Tylenol overdose, the treatment of choice is to give them glutathione, right? FDA has approved mucomyst, which is N-acetylcysteine, as an amino acid that helps boost the glutathione levels to fight with the Tylenol toxicities. So yeah, so it does deplete that part, but keep in mind, Tylenol is not the only drug. There's so many different medications out there today that can do the similar damage. The only good thing is that most people only take maybe 1 or 2 pills per day, versus Tylenol, since it's for pain, people may overdo that medication. But
Yeah.
anything that processes through your liver, like all your cholesterol meds and all your blood pressure pills and all those things, I mean, there are medications, there's a huge list of medications that can actually cause liver damage, right? But those pills, you only take it one a day. So it's like it's a low grade damage to your body, and so the body can basically keep up with it because the body can produce glutathione.
Yeah. So basically, if you look at if you learn about the drug pharmacokinetics and how a drug is processed in the body, you can determine whether it's secreted via the kidneys or excreted via the feces. And if it's going through the feces, it came from the liver had to manage that. And it's really it's so interesting to think about. Like if there is a toxic dose, I think it's 4 grams for Tylenol, right? Am I right
Yep,
about that? Four
that's
grams
right.
for an adult per 24 hours.
For
And
24
that's for
hours.
someone with a good liver. Like if your liver is struggling, then you're not, or you don't have enough glutathione, then that's probably too much for you, right? And it's
It is.
amazing to think of how commonly used that drug is and really how toxic and how dirty that drug is and how much people are kind of risking when they take something that like really pulls that amount of energy away from their body's ability to detoxify other things.
And especially if you even consume a drop of alcohol with it, oh my God, it's like game over, right?
And a lot of people are drinking, feeling terrible, taking Tylenol before bed when
That's
they go
right.
to bed because they don't want to wake up with a hangover. But like, let's hope they wake up, right? I mean, that's
Let's
a
hope they
pretty
wake up.
dangerous practice.
It
Yeah.
is. It is.
Okay, so let's talk about how to take glutathione because as you mentioned, there are a lot of ways of a lot of different orifices you could put it in,
Yes.
and it doesn't work. I'm particularly curious about the liposomal thing because that's been the whole movement for the last 5 or 7 years, right? Everyone's putting their thing in a liposomal vehicle. Can you maybe
Yeah.
talk to us about liposomes and like why that's not working for glutathione?
Yes, so liposome technology product are good products out there. It's not necessarily good for every single molecule. So when we first made the liposome form of glutathione in 1999, uh, what the way it works is you take a glutathione molecule and then wrap around with all these liposomes. So that basically it becomes like a big ball structure that it goes through your body, and then it's like peeling the onion. It just unfolds slowly and slowly as it goes to the intestines, and eventually you have access to the glutathione that your body's supposed to absorb it. What we do not know is that, and what you did not know at that time was that the body was actually not absorbing the glutathione at all. And
Mm.
what it was happening was it still works, by the way. It still worked. But the reason it worked is because the body broke down this glutathione into 3 amino acids, right? It did not get destroyed in the stomach because the acid will destroy the amino acids too, right? So they did not get destroyed in the stomach. It went in the intestines. It got broken down into amino acids. The body did absorb those amino acids and later used to produce glutathione. So, like 2 weeks later, in some cases it was as early as 6 hours later, they saw a rise of glutathione levels, not immediately, but 6 hours later. And they thought, oh, that's enough time for them, the body, to process it and break it down, to absorb it. But in reality, was they were just breaking down into amino acids, and the amino acids were actually being used to produce glutathione. Researchers at the University of Texas in Austin in 2011 did a clinical trial on that, and they took 26 kids, and they gave them 13 kids. They gave them oral liposome glutathione. 13 kids, they gave them topical liposomal glutathione because they said that, hey, liposomes can work either through your skin or through the mouth. So they do two separate groups of people. And what they found out in both groups, they found out actually was that they saw a rise of all the amino acids in the blood. They gave them glutathione, but in the blood, they saw a rise of cysteine and taurine and glutamine, but they did not see a rise of glutathione immediately. And then later on, they saw a rise of glutathione. And so the researchers basically concluded that the reason we saw a rise of glutathione was that because the body was able to break it down and reassemble them. Now, average consumer is going to say, what do I care? Right? As long as it's working, why would I care about it? Right? And the reason why you should care about this thing is because now we know about a lot about genetic testing. In the last 15 years, the gene testings, the SNPs, mutation testings has just gone skyrocketed. And what we are finding out is that maybe you're born completely normal, and based on your behavior during your lifetime, you trigger you trigger some of the genes that way at a later on in your life, your body stops producing glutathione correctly. And if you have this gene mutation that your body cannot conjugate, it'll break it apart. It'll break it apart. But if you cannot put two back together, now you're in trouble, right? If when you're a baby, if the same thing happened to you, you're on a spectrum, right? You have autism or Asperger's, so you're somewhere on the spectrum that your body's not able to completely put everything, all the pieces back together on a daily basis, right? And so you're on some sort of spectrum. And now think about it. I don't know, 50 years ago, how many kids were on the spectrum? One
I
in
mean,
one
one
in
in
a thousand
10,000.
plus,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Today, one in what, 20, 30, 15? I don't know. The number is really, really low.
Yeah.
Kids are on the spectrum. So people are born with some sort of defect or some sort of processes, some sort of issues where they cannot conjugate all these amino acids together. And so, yes, I forgot my train of thought now where we were, but the
Well, let me ask you a question then, because what I'm hearing is there are
yeah,
some genetic mutations that you can find that are from birth.
yep,
That wouldn't explain to me this precipitous rise in autism spectrum disorders,
no,
right? Because genes are not changing that fast. Epigenetics can be changing, right? And the
yes,
environmental toxicity and the burden that we carry is obviously changing. But what I'm hearing is that a child on the spectrum may not actually be able to take the building blocks of glutathione, those three amino acids, and put them together to make glutathione. And now they're set up for a lifetime of not being able to detoxify from our toxic world,
that's
not
right.
being able to create the immune system because they're not able to remove the things that are in the way of health, basically.
Exactly. So the liposome technology products may not be the full solution for these patients. So the second thing came around and said, okay, how about I just make injectables? And so we made injectable glutathione for decade, right? Over almost 19, 20 years, I make injectable form of glutathione, even though the research showed in 1991, there was a clinical trial done on 10 healthy human subjects, give them 2 grams of IV push. And what they saw was in 90 minutes later, they saw a rise of cysteine in the blood, but no glutathione. For
In other
90
words,
minutes,
one of the amino acids, the body was breaking it down even
breaking it
after
down,
being injected into the blood. Wow.
breaking it down. And then the question that goes, the doctors were saying, but it still works. I said, I know it works. But as a researcher, we want to know how it works, why it works, and can I predict the results every single time? That's to me as a pharmacist, that's a holy grail, right? If this drug works on you, I said, well, will it work on my dog? Will it work on my parents? Will it work for my sister? Does it work on everybody? When does not work? So that to me was more profound to find out that hey, it does work, but there's a potential that it may not work on everybody. If it doesn't work on everybody, then how can we improve the levels? Or better yet, if your needs if your needs are more than what your body can produce, then what happens? Right? You can inject, let's say you inject 2 grams, 5 grams, 10 grams of IV push of glutathione, right? But your body will break down everything, but your body can only produce enough for 600 milligrams. What's the rest of the glutathione going to do? Eventually, you're just going to pee it out, right? And so the rate limiting factor is still your body's own ability to produce glutathione. We still need the enzymes, we still need the ATP, we still need the NAD. And if the all those levels are reducing. And if you're over the age of 40, good luck. There's not going to happen. It is just not going to happen every single time. And so, same thing with the inhale solutions, right? Inhale solution, it goes straight in your lungs. You assume that, hey, since it's going in the lungs, it's going to get absorbed. No, no. Suppositories, no. None of this actually gets absorbed. The molecule is too big to get intracellularly at all. And
Okay, so that
so
that makes sense to me. So the molecule itself with those three amino acids, it's too chunky to kind of just slip through a membrane. Even in a liposomal, which is supposedly supposed to go through membranes, it's just too big. So the body breaks it down and now it has to put it back together, which is why you see this lag or never for some people who can't reassemble it.
that's right.
Okay.
So that's where I need to figure out how I can bypass all these barriers. So there's a skin barrier, there's a cell barrier. How can I get through like doors after doors after doors and get into the intracellular levels? And so we started working on that 20 plus years ago on this technology. At that time, it was not new technology. The dextrins were not new, but there were no drugs approved at that time. So people were still dabbling the feet around, looking at all different ways, trying to figure out. FDA already put them on a GRAS status. That means it's generally regarded as safe as an inactive ingredient, so we can use them into various components. And so we started working on that part and said, hey, maybe we can use this to somehow stabilize a glutathione outside the human body, which is so it smells like sulfury, but it doesn't get oxidized, right? So that was my first gig, so to speak. I wanted to accomplish that one thing first. When I did that part, I thought my job was done. Somebody's going to take over my project and make something out of it. Nobody did anything. I said, okay, step two. Now let me figure out how to get into the body, because when you squirt through your nose or take your mouth, everything gets broken down. So I said, well, that's not going to work. This is just not going to work. So the only thing left was a skin route. But the skin barrier is very, very tough, right? How to get to the skin barrier. Uh, and even if I get to the skin barrier, so if you can use some ultrasounds or light therapy to come and break the skin apart a little bit so it can get trickles in there. But that wasn't the issue for me. My issue was how to get to the cell barrier. And so what does the cell needs? So this is something that is going to be very, 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 very critical for listeners. The cell needs carbohydrates, right? Sugars. Uh, and so dextrin is a carbohydrate, but it's not a like a straight up sugar. So my job was to use a carbohydrate, put the glutathione inside, and rub it through your skin. And when you keep on rubbing it through, the whole thing just dries up and the body just sucks it in. The question was, how do I take this large molecule of glutathione and shove it into the small little holes of the dextrin molecules? But that took me about 3 years to figure all those things out on how do I twist the molecule to basically, it's like big molecule, twist, 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 to become like a little string. And the whole string, we just put the dextrin molecule on top of it. We just coat the whole thing up. The body just sucks it in. And so when we did that part, immediately the levels went up in the red blood cells. And when we saw that part, that the levels went into the red blood cells and not in the plasma, we knew that now we can get inside your body and it's not getting broken down. So anybody who has a gene defect or whose needs are so high that you need like something like right now, we can deliver that.
Wow. Okay. I have a lot of questions. So my first question is, I'm really curious about what you said as you were walking through the steps of this development process. You said after step one, I was like, okay, my job is done. I hope someone comes and takes this. Like, really? Were you really not wanting to like follow it through? Or like how long did you wait for, with the crickets chirping and the tumbleweeds rolling by before you were like, oh, no one's coming to take it. I guess I'm running with the ball now.
Well, the thing is, I never stopped it, but I started putting the word out there that, hey, we have created this molecule, so see if somebody wants to take on and do with it. And nobody has an interest in science. They want to say, hey, can we make a product out of this one? And can I sell the product? They all want to make money instead of following the science, right? And so, and my heart was to learn more, and really interested in making a product at that time. And so, yeah, it's nobody came. We had a group out of China who came by, uh, but I think they stole my idea. But I don't know. I don't know what to do, do with it. But they could have stole my idea. Uh, they're the only firm that came by and basically worked on it for a little bit. We do have a product that is approved in China as a medicine at this point, using the same exact technology. But yeah, nowhere else did. But nobody came. So we never stopped it. We kind of went in a little bit in a slower mode, and then we back in the hyper mode again. When we finally discovered the full exact molecule, that was 2007. And then the real journey began. As you can imagine, my job was to keep on researching as much as I can. And so I never released this as a product to the public until 2020 or 2021, I believe so. I never released it
Wow.
because I was still learning. I was still, you know, and my team goes, my God, you will keep on learning for the rest of your life. People need to get experience the benefit of this thing now. Come on, what the heck are you doing? And so my team started pressuring me so much that, hey, people need this product. People need this thing now, not until you figure everything out. And you know what? You'll never figure everything out anyway. So start helping people. And so
Yeah.
2020 and 2021, 2020 was my soft launch. 2021 is I built my website and start selling the product.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, if you think about like maybe timing, it might have been exactly the right time, right, to release it then, because my assumption is it has a profound effect on the immune system's ability to handle, say, a novel new coronavirus that
Oh,
came around.
it is. Yeah. And not just the coronavirus. I mean, any viral infections, any pest, any uh, parasites that your body accustomed that exposed to, body does with his own immune system, right?
Yeah. And the connection for people who are having trouble with like, well, how does putting something on my skin that sort of empowers my liver to be better detoxify is that my assumption is, well, you're supporting the body in ridding itself of all the things that drain energy from your body's ability to like mount an immune response. Is that how you would explain it, or do you have another way of drawing that connection between immune function and glutathione?
So this was actually, again, this was I was drawing conclusions before, but now that the clinical trial has been done and approved, and we went to a university over here, Western University School of Medicine, in Pomona, California, and so they went to IRB to get approval to do human trials. And so they did 30 patient human trial. 15 patient got medicine, 15% got placebo. And what they did was they applied the glutathione for only for 3 days, 4 sprays twice a day for 3 days. That's it. It was just a 3 day trial, and they didn't expect anything out of 3 days. But they said, let's just see what's happening. The goal was to see if it's absorbed, which they saw levels just doubled instantaneously. So that wasn't the issue. We already knew that answer. But what they did was the researcher went one step ahead. They applied the glutathione. An hour later, they drew the blood, and in the test tube, they infected the blood with mycobacterium infection. And then what they did was they didn't have enough funding, so they only did one like blood sample testing for all the immune markers. So they were measuring the IL-2, the interleukin 12, the TNF alpha, the interferon gamma. They started making all the cytokines, and they saw profound increase of all the cytokines immediately to the point.
In the blood that someone who just had their glutathione application.
Yes. And then
Okay.
the immune system was so profound that actually it reduced the mycobacterium load within 1 hour in the one of
In
the
that
tests,
same test tube.
in the same
In that,
test tube, same test tube.
wow.
And so
Wow.
that the researchers started scratching their head off, right? I said, whoa, wait a second, right? Uh, Now that we know that it is actually activating your own immune system, so now we think glutathione is also a signaling molecule. So it may be signaling your body, helping aid your body's process of finding parasites and bugs and infections to and helping get rid of it.
Wow. Wow, that's amazing. So so what kind of clinical trials are underway or even just clinical experiences that you've heard from people using this topical glutathione?
So we there was an article just got published recently. This one was just got published recently on September 12th of 2024. This was just got published, and it was all about treatment for. They basically linked oxidative stress to acute and long COVID, diabetes, myocardial infarctions, heart attacks, and Alzheimer's. I mean, if you think about it, these are four very diverse
Very different.
conditions that we are
Yeah.
dealing with it, but they all have one thing in common, which is oxidative stress. And so it's not that we are curing any of these diseases, but we are doing is we are reducing the trajectory of where they're headed. And so we're changing the course of all these conditions by reducing oxidative stress. When the oxidative stress goes down, the body gets a chance to deal with it. When the oxidative stress is so high, the body has no chance to deal with it, and all you can see is progression of the diseases, and the body starts damaging and damaging further. Versus having glutathione is allowing the body to actually start the process of healing. It is
Hmm.
not going to get rid of the disease, or the condition, but it is going to allow the body to heal. And by doing so, if it's long enough time, there's a potential that we can put this all this into remission. And if that happens, oh my God, right?
Wow.
So
Wow.
that's
Yeah.
what. So that's the reason why this just got published. We have two more out for publication right now. The professor that's doing all this work almost retired in 2020. He retired, right? And that's when I launched a product. And I was on, I'm also an adjunct faculty at the university. I was talking about this thing. I said, wait a second, we can use this product, right? We have the medical center is full of patients with COVID right now. We can use this product. I said, well, that's up to you whether to do it or not do it. So he used that product, and he started working like 2 days a week because they needed his help, right? So they was started working 2 days a week, and he was helping all those people up. COVID's gone now, everything is gone, and now recently he's still working 2 to 3 days a week. And now only thing he's doing is that he's finding people that he can use the glutathione on, and he's publishing articles. So he has one out for publication on PTSD right now, where it was a severe case of PTSD, and that it had a profound impact on his life within 30 days,
Wow.
like like really profound impact. So I said, all he has to do is whatever he observes, write case reports out of it, because I want people to start seeing these case reports and start putting connections. Nobody's saying that glutathione is a drug that's out there, but it has a major impact on allowing your body to defend itself,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so that's where we are at.
Well, I love that it's sort of like taking this thing that your body already has that's apparently super important and very, very powerful, and just supplementing and reinforcing what your body's already trying to do to stay well.
That's
The
right.
part that I wonder about is the cyclodextrin molecule. So help reassure me and listeners that this is not some strange little, packet that's becoming one more toxin in your body.
No, it's not. So if you look at cyclodextrin, and FDA has already looked into those things and actually has issued a GRAS status to the molecule that we are using in our body right now, which is GRAS is generally regarded as safe, but that's only given to a status when you take it orally, consume orally. Since this is topical, we cannot use the same status and say that, hey, my product is absolutely safe. We cannot say that, right? But the chemical itself, consumed orally, has a GRAS status. So it's pretty safe to do that part. Uh, if you look at any packaged goods you have, the way you keep it fresh at all times, have you have if you look at any packaged goods, there's something called maltodextrins on there.
Mm-hmm.
That's another form of cyclodextrin, right? And it's completely inert and safe. There's nowhere in the literature talks about that this thing is bad for you. And the thing is, these dextrin molecules, as they break apart, they just there's just like a bunch of sugar molecules, polysaccharides. And the body just gets rid of it, just peed out. It's water soluble completely. You don't even
Okay.
need anything for your body to break it apart to have it get rid of it. Your body just pees it out.
Okay, that's reassuring. And then you were telling me beforehand that it's the delivery molecule for the glutathione, but once the glutathione is sort of unhitched and in the cells and doing its
Uh-huh.
thing, what can the cyclodextrin molecule do? You were sharing something about lipids, and that was
Well,
fascinating.
there's some published articles out there that the research has been looking at cyclodextrin molecule as a possible treatments for all kinds of things, uh, and if you can deliver intracellularly or inside your bloodstream, that it can help remove some of the soft plaques and help remove some of the triglycerides from your from your blood and things like that. So again, these are all the researchers are still looking at those things right now. There's some published articles. If you just put your favorite search engine bar, cyclodextrins and other modalities. There are so many different types of cyclodextrins out there in the market today, and people are doing all kinds of treatments for that. They're making some eye drops out of it. They're making some hormone treatments out of it, and so there's a lot of things. There's a whole research going on right now. Um, for me, I only want to work with autologous peptides. Whatever our body produces, whatever body produces internally is what I want to work on. I don't want to work on any foreign objects. I'm not looking for any patented drug molecule that's going to deliver, that's going to change the world. No, God, no. God has made us perfect. Our body is a sanctuary. It's everything we need to survive. We already have it. We just need to enhance it to so the body can use up and self and deal with its own problems, right? We don't need any foreign objects whatsoever inside our body. So
Awesome. Well, I mean, I spoke to you. We first met, I think, at the Forum for Integrative Medicine last, I don't know, February or March in Austin, and
yeah.
afterwards had a conversation. That's when I first really sort of delved into this and actually purchased some of your Glutaril and your Glutaril Plus just to try it. Because, right, I don't like to recommend things that I haven't tried on my shelf. Make sure nobody dies. Make sure it seems like it's effective. And I will tell you that I was shocked that well, I actually took it on a trip with me when I went to visit some friends in Florida and accidentally ingested a lot of alcohol and a lot more sun than I usually allow myself, and came out with a sunburn and also drinking more heavily than I normally do. And I use that stuff every single day and had no ill effects, including no lasting sunburn, which shocked me because as a person with very fair light skin, blonde hair, growing up in California, I know exactly sort of the point at which I'm like, oh yeah, this is going to be a burn, this is going to peel. And I really feel like I hit that. And yet I don't know if anyone's used it for sunburn besides me. So you can tell me if I'm the first test case,
No.
but I was rubbing it into the sunburn and it went away within 6 days, no peeling, no lasting anything. So I was shocked. So what are the things that have shocked you the most about what this product can do? I'm curious to know what you guys have experimented with where you're like, it can't do that. Oh my gosh, it did that.
So the first shock I had was in 2011 or 12, something like that. Very early in my career, because I was working with a physician out of Utah, and he had a case where this gentleman was suffering from post-herpetic neuralgias for a few decades. Uh, he was very well-known person, did really good work in his lifetime, made a lot of money doing so, but in his later part of his life became completely suicidal because he couldn't walk. Pain was unbearable all the time, and he had 24/7 suicide watch
Mm,
nurse watching him all the time.
wow.
And so the doc goes, well, use a spray. No, use a spray. I have no idea what the hell it's going to do to you. And we had no idea. And 30 days later, he came to the doctor's office on a cane. The doctor looked at his jaw dropped and said, what the heck happened to you? I said, who made this product? I want to buy him out. I said, no. I said, I mean, he's just a researcher out of California. He's just doing some work over here. So his attorney calls me up. I said, hey, just want to make sure that you're sound and safe. If you need any help, please let me know. But I don't want you to stop making this product for my client for the rest of your life. Right. Uh, and so
Wow.
that was the most profound effect. And so then I looked at it and said, hey, okay, what was the cause of the neuralgias? And he had like 2 or 3 shingles outbreak, gosh, 20, 30 years ago, and that triggered this neuropathy, and then it never went away, right? And so after that, the doctor goes nuts. I say, you know what? I had a case of shingles. I had ocular shingles, right? A case of shingles. Started applying glutathione on top of the shingles, and literally the pain went away in about 6 hours, right? The pain goes away, and it's like those magic things, right? The lesions just kind of closed in within 2 days, 48 hours, right?
Wow.
The shingles were still there. I mean, the shingles doesn't go away, but the pain was gone. The body was healing, and I
Mm.
said, glutathione is not an antiviral. It's not an anti-bug at all. How the heck does it do? And now we know, today I know that it was actually helping build the cytokines and the immune markers to help your body actually defend its own problems. So what glutathione has done for us is just reinforce that if we just give the body the strength, the body will deal with all the problems, right? and
Amazing.
this
So
and
interesting.
and so the glutathione to me is like the inner strength that the body needs to deal with it. Alcohol thing, it's easy. uh I should not be saying these things, but I stopped drinking alcohol today, so don't shoot me for what I did in the past. I don't drink any more alcohol. But my first boys trip, right? This was 2012, 2013. Uh, we went. These are all cousins and brothers, and so we all went to a golf trip, and of course we had almost the game of the golf is what you win something, you have a drink or something like that, right? Plus, if you go to Scotland, you're gonna have some scotches over there as well. So, anyways, long story short, we enjoy a lot of scotch, but 8 of us, not a single person ever had a hangover, not even one. And we were there for 6 days, uh, 5 nights, so 5 days of golf every single day, 6 day of traveling, and we had so much fun that time, and we never thought about it. But looking back today, I said, "Oh my God! If we didn't have glutathione back then, we'd have been gone." Right? It's just like there's no way we'd have survived the second, the third day of golf ever. And we enjoyed the golf. We enjoyed. So I don't advocate ever to use glutathione for your drinking habits at all. I seriously think alcohol is the worst thing that we can consume knowingly, and it has so much profound impact on our life negatively that I no longer consume alcohol anymore. And if you ever see me with a glass of wine or whiskey or whatever, please slap me right away. So this is out in the open now. So you're welcome to do so now.
And also we should douse you with some glutathione. So tell us about before we end, I want to hear just sort of what your recommended, application frequency dosage is.
So we have done the studies for you guys, so you don't have to repeat those studies again. We have applied 2 sprays, 1 sprays, 12 sprays, 16 sprays, 32 sprays. I've applied a large amount of glutathione. What we found out was 4 sprays, which is roughly about, I don't know, 100-ish milligram, uh, will get you the levels high normal, right? Once the levels are high normal, by taking more, it's not going to do it much for you. So, and the thing is, if you're otherwise healthy, using it twice a day is all you need to basically get a full day coverage. Well, not a full day coverage, but at least 8 to 12 to 14-hour coverage of the glutathione. If you're unhealthy, same medication, same product, right? 4 sprays twice a day, but it will take you maybe 3 to 6 months to hit steady state when your basically body's in the meantime, you're still basically healing the body, and body is able to use up the glutathione and start healing the process, right? So 4 sprays twice a day is all I need. We have the stronger version as well, the Glutathione Plus now, and that was released in 2022, I believe so. We had some celebrity clients that we need more, we need more. I don't know why, but they got too much money. They don't know what to do with it. Uh, so so we released the stronger version. So there are some people who need the stronger version as well, especially people with severe metabolic disorders that have very low depleted glutathione levels, high oxidative stress markers. Of course, a lot of my physicians knows those things, so they are recommending to the people as well to use the plus version. I strongly suggest everybody to use the regular first. Make sure their body is okay and they can tolerate that product, because even though the body gets relaxed, oh my God, thank you for saving me with all this toxic load, and thanks for giving me the glutathione. But if you get too much too fast, I don't want people to having those minor rashes and headaches and stomach cramps and things like that. And so start the regular version first. If everything's okay, go the plus version, 4 sprays twice a day. That's about 175-ish milligram in 4 sprays twice a day. And that should be a dose for pretty much everybody. Now, I have a lot of doctors that use it in the kids. And if you have kids, clients, like anybody under the age of 2, I would suggest no more than 1 spray twice a day. Between 2 and 6, I usually go about 2 sprays twice a day. Uh, Above the age of 6-ish, some 6 years old are big kids too. But it's about 3 sprays twice a day, and young adults and adults are 4 sprays twice a day. Yeah. So we have staggered them up a little bit. If for any reason that it's still too much for you, reach out to me through my website, and we'll make something special for you so that you can tolerate.
Oh, that's awesome. One other thing that's unique about this product that you actually walked me through the first time we talked about it was it's not just you spray it and leave it, right? There's kind of a whole process. And maybe you should be the one telling us about
All
it
right.
because, yeah.
So I'll go step back, right? So when you apply on the arm, when you rub it in, it becomes like it's like water. It's just like really smooth water. And then what happens is the water starts getting into the body, and then the dextrin molecule, which is the sugar, starts getting very, very sticky, extremely sticky. And then you just keep on rubbing it, keep on rubbing it. Excuse me. And then what happens is that it gets so sticky that you cannot move your arm. Then you have to pat it down, pat it down. You're not done yet, right? You're not done yet. And then gently rub and pat, gently rub and pat until completely dry, like bone dry. When that happens, guess what? All the glutathione, all the dextrin molecule, the body just sucks it in, and it's completely dry. Until it dry, trust me, it will never dry by itself. It needs the sheer action to actually get through your body. So please do not stop prematurely, because if you do stop it, it'll be sticky for the rest of your day. It'll never go away.
It is the strangest thing. And the way I tell people is, look, you're going to reach a point where you're rubbing it in and you just feel like, I can't do it any longer. It's too
Yeah.
stuck. It's not going anywhere. Just push through that. Just push through that. Keep rubbing,
That's
keep rubbing. And all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, how did this? But here's the thing that's crazy. I have a friend
uh-huh.
who I shared this with who never got past the stickiness. What could cause that? Have you ever heard of that happening?
Yes, yes, yes. So some people are sweaters. They sweat all the time. Hyperhidrosis, right? And when they sweat all the time, there's always going to be water. And if there's water within, the stickiness never goes away.
Okay.
And
So
so
we should
for
have
the
her just dry off really well before she applies it.
exactly. And so for those people, I always recommend them that after 45 minutes, wash up the area with just water, and you're done.
Okay.
No soap required, just water.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, that's so helpful. And this conversation, I think, is going to be so illuminating for a lot of people. Is there anything else, Dr. Patel, that we haven't discussed yet that you would want my listeners, many of whom are dealing with complex mystery illness and symptoms and looking for hope, anything else you'd like to share with them before we end?
So the word hope is so powerful that you just mentioned right now. And I want all the listeners to understand one thing. And please apologize for not releasing the product 15 years before, because I had to make sure that this product is going to be good and is going to do the things it's supposed to do. And so I want everybody to feel what is it like to be free of oxidative stress, as linked to so many diseases. How to be free of pain, how to be free of inflammation. If you're 70-year-old and cannot get out of the bed because you have all this inflammation, imagine glutathione help allowing you to go to your granddaughter's recitals, or go out to watch your grandkids baseball game or whatever, right? It's allowed you to live a life. And the reason I want to share this with you is because I want to share a story with you today before I end this thing. The story is about my dad. My dad at the age of 78, and you'll know as a doctor what that means. At the age of 78, diabetes for close to 40 years, arthritis for close to 28 years, blood pressure issues, a little bit obese, uh, had just had a stent put in the aorta, complete blockage of the right side of the heart, 99% blockage, put a stent in there. What's the prognosis of this person? It's gonna be dicey, right? His major lifestyle modifications, what he has to do, still gonna be not gonna be having a good rest of his life, right? Deformed knees, everything. Uh, so at the age of 78, about the same time I discovered glutathione, he was my patient number one. He was taking testosterone. He was taking hormone replacement therapy already before that. For 10 years prior to this event, he was already doing all these things. But only thing that we added at the age of 78 for him was glutathione. That was it. 4 years later, he was free of diabetes, free of arthritis, free of blood pressure. Completely, he was walking 6 miles per day, enjoying life, looking younger. Uh, People started commenting about his looks and the way he walks and the way he talks and the memory he has and all those things. So, oh my God, what the heck is going on with you, right? Uh, about the same time, as I said, his arthritis for now 32 years, his deformed knees. He goes to the doctor at the age of 84 and asks him that, hey, I want to do knee replacement surgeries. The doctor goes, well, I can't believe you walk 6 miles per day with this kinds of knees. I can't believe it. I said, okay. The doctor says, yeah, I think you're a good candidate for knee replacements. We'll do one at a time. And my dad goes, no, both knees at the same time. Because at my age, I'll never do the second surgery again, ever. Right? The doctor goes, I strongly discourage, because, doing two knees at the same time will be devastating for you. And my dad goes, bring it on, right? I don't care. And against the doctor's advice, he still went back for the surgery for both knee replacement. He did that part, and the doctor said that he would not be able to travel anywhere for at least 6 months. At the age of 84, with two knee replacements, he cannot travel for 6 months. 3.5 months later, he was in India traveling. Uh, my dad was single. My mom passed away 25 plus years ago, so he was single. So he has to do everything by himself. He opened the house. My house is on a second story, so he goes up and down every day on the staircase with a double knee replacement just a 3.5 months prior. Okay. He has a house right by the ocean, so he walks along the oceans every single day. He does his ashram, so he does his prayers and meditations every single day. His life is full of gratitudes, right? Um, did I tell you that he was not taking any diabetes medication at that time? He's done with taking diabetic medications as well.
Wow.
No longer diabetic. Anyways, so he got to a point where he started traveling the world every single year. He started going to the world. Fast forward to this year at the age of 89, right? He was enjoying his life again. He went to Africa, he went to India, and then in India this year, in January or February, so he ate something at the street food. Uh, he was just enjoying life. So he just walks everywhere. He goes everywhere, does his shopping, does his cooking, does his cooking, but he gets his people to help him out. He went there, ate some street food, got diarrhea. Next morning, he fell down, broke his skull, and it was gone in less than 1 day.
Oh my gosh.
So I just lost my dad this year, but
Wow.
the reason I'm telling the story to you is because at the age of 89, he was disease free, enjoying life, didn't even suffer for 20 minutes, right? Half an hour before his passing from the hospital, he was calling me on FaceTime and my brothers and my family, everybody said, hey, don't worry about me. I feel fine. I'm talking to you. My memories, everything is perfectly fine. No problem whatsoever. The neurosurgeon said that that if everything's okay in the next 3 or 4 days, you can travel in about a week. So after a week or so, I'll book my tickets and I'll come back. So don't worry about it. So just enjoy. I'm fine. Don't have to worry about me. I'll be okay. And half an hour later, he was gone. It's like he just put the phone down, went to sleep, and never woke up.
Wow. Wow.
And I tell this story for one reason is that I wish every 89-year-old person today can think that, you know what? If I want to go, that's the way I want to go. I'm talking to my family, making promises, telling everybody I'm okay. I'm not suffering, nothing. I was walking, I was enjoying life. I did everything I wanted to do. And when my time was up, God just came down and picked me up and left me left.
Wow. I'm so sorry for your loss, and I'm so delighted to hear the way in which your father was able to live his last years and go so easily and gracefully and with such gratitude.
Yeah.
Wow, what a story.
Thank you. So I just want people to feel that what is it like? It's not a product. Glutathione is not a product. Glutathione is basically you're allowing your body to defend, allowing your body to heal from inside. You're not doing anything. Only thing you're doing is giving the nourishment the body needs. The body does all the work. You do nothing. You do nothing.
Well, you got to rub through mud for a while, but then it's only twice a day.
That's
Well,
exercise.
exactly. There's your exercise. Well, this has been amazing. Thank you again for your time and for your dedication and for your stories, and also just for the passion and commitment of purpose that you've brought to this whole glutathione project. It's been really quite a journey for you, and it's obviously going to pay off for so many people. So thank
I
you.
hope so too. Thank you very much for having me today.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Healing Grove podcast. If you liked it, please be sure to like and subscribe. And if you want to deepen your experience further, consider grabbing a copy of the Healing Grove playbook. With journal prompts for this podcast and 41 others, it's the perfect place to record your learnings, keep track of the tools you explore, and reflect on your own experience. Finally, it's important to mention that even though I am a doctor, nothing you hear on this podcast, whether from myself or my guests, constitutes medical advice. Any intervention you try should always be discussed with and supervised by a trusted member of your own healing team. Thanks for listening, and see you next time in the Healing Grove.